Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of lovealadijonnaise. This is Feli and Sam, how are you?
Hello everyone, I'm fine my love, how are you?
I'm very happy, first of all, because this episode and the coming ones are going to be very easy to edit. But secondly, guys, because we are extremely happy. And that's because this is officially the first podcast, the first episode that we are recording together.
Yes, and no more distance for the next 3.5 months.
More or less.
Yeah, more or less, which we're very excited, finally together. And well, basically in this episode, we're gonna tell you our story time of how it is to travel during coronavirus.
Exactly. We wanted to talk about this because, of course, now that I'm here in Europe with Sam, there was a whole process. We have some stories. Well, I do have some stories about how is it coming here during all the virus, the restrictions and everything. But that's why we wanted to share this with you. Of course, we're going to start first with Sam. She's going to share with you experience she had a bit more than 6 months ago. Well, 11 months ago. She was stuck in Mexico.
Yes.
And yeah, basically that's what we're going to do. So we're going to start with Sam.
Okay, guys, let's go back in time. As you know, 2020 had other plans with all of us. We thought it's gonna be New Year, amazing year, we're gonna do plenty of things, but no. Our dear friend coronavirus arrived, and I planned to stay in Mexico for a month and a half, so from mid-February until end of March, and that was it. But since things started getting worse and worse, and things in Europe, Europe shut down and cases were rising. It wasn't that bad in Mexico and America, but in Europe it was. So I in mid of March, I get an email saying my flight was canceled. I was like, okay, what do I do? Nothing. Well, they gave me a new date, so I was supposed to leave then in April. I was like, okay, 1 more month, it's fine. I can spend with my boyfriend. But then, I get another email, your flight has been canceled. And I'm like, okay, we get a new date for May. Fine, another month. I get another email in the beginning of May, your flight has been canceled. And I'm like, okay. So we call again to the airline, and they're like, oh yeah, well, we can give you a new date, but we are not 100% sure if it's gonna be, if the flight is gonna be available, if it's not gonna be canceled. I'm like, okay. So I get the date for June, for mid of June. This one wasn't canceled, so after 4 months in Mexico, something like that? More or less. I went back home. I mean, I wasn't complaining. I was in the house. I was with my boyfriend. Everything was fine. The ones who were a bit worried was of course my family, because they were like, oh no, but you're stuck. But how are you going to come home? But are you going to come home? So yeah, it was a mess. And thanks God, Europeans were allowed to stay in Mexico for 6 months without any visa. So yeah, I was lucky actually, because a lot of people were stuck in hotels or Airbnbs and those type of things, and they couldn't come home. So I was very, very lucky to stay in your house.
No, exactly, because basically you weren't spending anything.
No.
Because literally you had food, you had everything, and as you were saying, like literally there were people stuck in hotels, in Airbnbs that they needed to be paying. Yeah, so it was very stressing, and also because I remember that we were seeing that, I mean, as Sam said at the beginning, actually there wasn't any case in Mexico. Cases start appearing in March, at the end of March. That it was the first time that your flight got canceled. And then by the time she was leaving, Mexico was getting horrible. Like literally she left, and I think like a month later was when we started having like the huge boom, of
wave.
Coronavirus. Yeah, the first huge wave. And then of course Mexico basically got horrible. But yeah, sadly got horrible as the US. But it was very stressing, and I can't even imagine how her parents were, because they were like, but how? I mean, they were
confused. They didn't know how is that possible. I mean, we still, I mean, me, myself, I don't know how it's possible, because if you think about it, it was a huge loss for airlines because they weren't flying for a couple of months. I mean, I was in contact with my embassy in Washington because they cover US and Mexico. Don't know if they cover Canada. And they found me a flight going from Miami to Bratislava, and that was it, or to Amsterdam. And I'm like, okay, but how do I come from Bratislava or Amsterdam to Slovenia, or how do I come from Guadalajara to Miami? Because also there weren't any flights from Mexico to the US. And another thing was I had to pay this flight by myself, more than 1,000 euros. And I was like, no, I'm gonna stay. I have a house, I have food, I'm with my boyfriend, and that's it. I'm gonna wait for my flight, like the original one, to not be cancelled. And that's what I did, and I saved a lot of money.
It was very complicated. Yeah, I remember, as you said, that flights from Mexico to the US were canceled in that moment.
Yes.
No one was flying. Although we have a direct flight from Guadalajara to Miami. That is, I think, like we have like 3 per week, 3 flights from Guadalajara to Miami. In that moment, no one was flying, not even to LA. That is the most common flight that we have from Guadalajara. So it was very complicated, but at the end, well, she managed.
I managed.
Yeah, she got her flight with Lufthansa.
Of course.
Yeah, but then we had a tiny issue. The thing is, like, there are 2 flights every day from Frankfurt
To Ljubljana.
One is at midday, and the next one is until the night.
Yes, but
Yeah.
because of Corona, they had only 1 flight per day, and it was in the midday. And I flew from Guadalajara to Mexico City, then to Frankfurt, and to Ljubljana. But I was arriving from Mexico City to Frankfurt like at 3-something. And the flight, literally when I landed in Frankfurt, the flight from Ljubljana had already taken off like 10 minutes, 20 minutes ago, like before I landed. So there was no flight. And then we called the airline, and they were like, okay, yeah, we can give you the flight, but of next day at 7 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, okay. And then I contacted my embassy, Slovenian embassy in Berlin, asking them, if I can go to a hotel or whatever. And they were like, yeah, you can go, but only in the airport, from like the hotel of the airport. If not, you have to go into quarantine. I was like, okay. Then I Googled, and yeah, for one night, the room was 300 euros. And those hotels that were outside the airport were like, let's say around 85 per night euros. So way cheaper. And I was like, okay, no, I'm not paying for one night 300 euros. So I decided to sleep at the airport.
One of the most annoying things you've
Yes.
ever done. Yeah. The mask.
The mask, very uncomfortable. And there was a guy, I don't know, he was loud the whole night.
The Jewish guy.
I'm not judging him because he's Jewish or whatever, but he was very like loud, annoying. And at some point I was like falling asleep there on those benches of the airport, and he came to me and he started talking to me. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to sleep. Please leave me alone.
Yeah. I remember she called me. You remember you called me?
Yeah, in the middle of the night.
Me.
There was a night in Europe because I couldn't sleep. It was so bad. And I remember that time was the worst one. I felt jet lagged and everything. And I couldn't wait to come home. But luckily, next morning, had my flight, came home, showered, rested, and yeah. So
that was it.
That was it. That was my experience. I mean, I was very lucky in comparison to other people because they had to like pay hotels and everything. Actually, I saw a lot of people traveling back to Germany or Europe once everything had opened on my flight from Mexico City to Frankfurt. So yeah. But yeah, I was lucky in an unlucky situation.
Yeah, I know. I can imagine. It was very hard, very tiring. But finally she managed.
I managed.
And Sam came. She was home. And I know that she got super, super happy because of that. Because, yeah, being stuck in Europe, being stuck in Mexico, it's not that easy, of course.
No, but I mean, See, like I said, I was lucky and I'm super thankful to your parents. They allowed me to stay.
Now, of course, they were gonna allow you to stay.
Yeah.
But it was nice. I mean, but the thing is, like, something I told Sam is, like, when I saw that, I mean, we were together for so long, because basically we were together for 4 months, more or less. I told her I remember one of the last days she was in Mexico, was like, you know what? I think this was because of something, and I'm scared, but I think that it's gonna take us a while to see each other again. And that's how it happened. Here we are 11 months after.
Yay! Congratulations.
Congratulations.
We managed.
But we managed. We resist almost, basically the year being apart.
Today is actually, well, if you weren't here, would be 11 months apart because I came back home on the 17th.
Yeah. And today is the 17th.
So 17th.
So it was hard. It was pretty hard. But finally, here we are. And now I'm going to share with you what we are going to share. Because, of course, it was a whole process from both of us. You know, we needed to do stuff to put me here.
Yes.
And it was very hard. If it's something, it was super hard. Tiring, annoying. So many calls, so many documents that we needed to have. But here we are. So, of course, we started realizing, because the thing is, like, for us to see each other again, we planned first, November, we said. You know? No, of course not. That was impossible. Actually, in November in Mexico, we were having so many people dying.
We did as well. Like, so many cases in Europe. Everything was shut down again in, like, fall, autumn. So there was no chance that we were get any document for you to travel.
No, it was horrible. Also, Mexico, I remember in November was when European Union declared that Mexico was basically a high risk incidence area. Yeah, exactly. And we couldn't travel to Europe anymore, and a lot of people were dying in Mexico. So it was horrible. So then we said, okay, January. Again, same situation. No. We were horrible. We were having waves. I think you were going out from the second wave, something.
No, we were deeply in second wave in January.
We were about to start the second wave. Because anyway, it was horrible. But then we started seeing, and I was like, you know what? May. Because I think in May it's going to be a bit better. Actually, it's a bit better. It's still not perfect now. But I
mean, here with us, thanks God, it's getting better. But of course, thanks to the vaccines and everything.
Exactly.
But what I'm afraid what my government is going to do is that they're going to shut us down in fall again because that's their plan. By the way, we have stupid government. Yes, I'm complaining.
We both have stupid governments, yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, we said, okay, May will be, and we started investigating. At the beginning, we were like, okay, looks easy, because the thing is, like, apparently there weren't so many restrictions anymore. But then we started checking, and I remember once I was at work, and I called the embassy in Washington, and I told them, and they were like, you know what? We need to give you a letter signed by the government, because also the Mexican embassy in Germany told me, like, it will be very nice, because I knew that I needed to enter through Germany, and they were like, you know, it will be very nice if you have a document signed by the government of Slovenia saying that you are allowed to enter to Slovenia, because we don't want you here in Germany. Basically, that's what they were telling.
We don't want you here. Go away.
Yeah. So I was that. Okay, and we started checking. Sam also, she checked with the government here. Documents that they asked us basically to prove our relationship.
Oh my God, so many documents.
Pictures and what else?
Like flight tickets, reservations of hotels, copy of passports and IDs of both of us. And yeah, that was pretty much basically
everything.
To prove that we have been together for in one place for more than 3 months in the past 2 years. But having in mind that these 3 months don't have to be how you say?
In a row.
Yeah. Can be split. And the thing is, we did that. Thanks God we had everything. But then when we were counting the months, we were missing 1 day.
I think, yeah, it was something very stupid. It was like 1 or 2 days.
1 or 2 days, and we were all like, oh no. And then we had a brilliant idea to send them papers from exchange, that we were in France together in the same university and everything. And then we sent them that additionally. And then I wake up the next morning having the letter in my email. I was like, yes, we made it. We have the letter.
Finally, we got the letter. We were super happy. And then, of course, all the things that we needed to do. Well, now basically me, because I needed to get prepared. The freaking test. I had it. That was the second time they did the PCR test to me. If you ask me, it feels horrible when they put the thing in your nose and also in your throat. But the nose is the one that is like, I get goosebumps. Yeah. And, well, yeah, it was hard to find a place that could give me the results of the PCR test in less than 12 hours. Because Europe asks me to get a test, to show a test not older than 48 hours, which is something hard in Mexico because most of our labs, they give you the test in minimum 48 hours. So that was a problem. But thanks to Santi, dude, I send you a huge hug. Thank you so much for telling me about that lab. He told me about a lab that actually sent me the results in, I think, like 5 hours.
Oh, it's very fast.
It was pretty fast. And that was it. I got my things and we were scared because the thing is like, it doesn't matter if I had the test. The thing is like, we knew I was going to be able to enter to Germany because I was just in transit. The real question was, am I going to be able to enter to Slovenia? Because it's so special and Slovenia's government right now is so messed up that they changed
from one day to another, and in general we have a lot of bureaucracy. Doesn't matter if it's coronavirus times or not, a lot of papers always. So he had, besides the letter from the embassy, the copy of my passport, he had my invitation letter, and then we both wrote and signed like a paper that we like are in a relationship and we consider each other's like couple partners. So yeah, I had all those things and his test. But yeah, my government sometimes a bit special, so we were scared that they're gonna say no and send him back to Mexico. But also because of the test, because European Union, and for when you read on those of the official page, they tell you like, oh yeah, you can enter with the test, but that is done in the European Union, or either US, Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and I'm like, no Mexico, of course.
No Mexico.
So I was scared a bit that they're gonna send him to test again, but thanks God they didn't.
No, they didn't. Actually, we were expecting, mainly me, not also you, we were expecting that they were gonna be very tough, with entering, and it wasn't like that. I basically arrived to Germany, and it was a girl, the
police
the
officer.
police from the customs. I arrived, and as usual, hello, guten Morgen. I used my incredible German.
So cute.
I was so happy because I was practicing my German, as maybe you don't know, but I'm learning German. So I was happy to practice my German. And I arrived, and actually she was very nice. She asked me like, she told me, welcome to Germany, like
nice,
directly, and very nice. Yeah, she was welcoming me. And she was like, what are you doing in Europe? And then I told her, well, I'm transit here in Germany. I'm going to Slovenia. And she was like, why? And I told her, well, I'm visiting my girlfriend. And she was like, oh, so nice. Do you have something from the government that, proves that actually you are going to be able to enter? And then I said, yes, of course. And thanks God, I print 2 copies of the letter of the embassy. And I gave her that. And she was like, you have the copy of the passport of your girlfriend? I was like, yes, and I gave it to her, and she was like, do you have the address? And then I told her the address where I was gonna stay, and she was like, okay, I'm gonna keep the copy of the letter, from the embassy, but welcome to Germany, and just stay here in the terminal, don't go out from the airport or anything. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, fine. And that was it. Germany, very, very nice.
Fast.
Yeah, very fast. Everything was open in the airport. Actually, I told you that everything was open, basically.
Which is nice, because when I stayed for a day there, I had a sleepover at the airport. Everything was closed. There was a tiny store open and like a bakery / coffee thing open, and only those two things.
No, yeah, it was so different. Now even restaurants that were open, everything was bad. I bought a book. I told Sam
in German.
I bought a book in German because I want to practice German. But that was it. I was very tired. The jet lag was striking me a lot, and I don't know. I think like everyone strikes different. Like the jet lag strikes me like if I had a hangover. So yeah, horrible.
Me, I just want to sleep. In like 3 days in a row, I feel sleepy.
Yeah, no, with me it's like if I had drunk and yeah. But anyway, I flew. I'm sorry, I flew to Slovenia, and I was scared, because I was like, oh my god, how is it gonna be? But no, the guy actually, he was surprised because I was from Mexico. He asked me like, what are you doing here? And then I told him I'm visiting my girlfriend, and that was it. Actually, he asked me less things. He was like, do you have the copy of the letter? I gave it to him. He gave it back, and he was like, well, welcome.
Yeah, he checked your test,
he checked my test, of course, in English, and that was it. It was nice. It was very tiring. And the most annoying part was the mask. Horrible.
Oh my god,
yeah,
yes.
horrible.
For 20 hours and you're not allowed to take it off.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to. Actually, I'm very happy that Sam and me, we were talking because I had a connection in Cancun. From Cancun, I flew from Cancun to Frankfurt. And in Cancun, I went out of the airport to take my mask off, and I was very happy because after that, I had that mask the whole time, and it was in the plane 9 hours and a half. So annoying.
So annoying.
Yeah, very tiring, but it's a whole process. It's literally a whole process. It's tiring, and for those of you who are planning and you have a couple here in Europe and you are from Mexico or Latin America, like, guys, it's so hard. It's seriously hard.
You need to investigate a lot, and basically you need to have a reason to enter to Europe.
Yeah, you need to have a reason, because if not, they seriously they don't allow you, and they can send you back to your country.
I think even for tourism purposes, it would be a bit harder to enter unless you're like with a touristic agency or something like that.
Yeah, and it's even like you don't even have to be in Europe to realize that. I told you, like, they weren't given the boarding pass to come. They gave me the boarding pass in Cancun until I showed them my PCR test.
Yeah, you just did the check-in and no boarding pass. Usually you get the boarding pass.
Yeah, of course, but yeah, no.
Of course.
And also, every time that you travel, it's not a restriction, but it's at some point annoying. In Mexico, in Mexico, and you're gonna realize when we go back. For traveling inside Mexico, every time that you are about to take a flight, you need to do a questionnaire about the countries you visited, and you can't go through security until you do that.
Actually, that one I had to do when I was leaving Mexico.
Oh, well, I didn't know.
It was already introduced, the questionnaire. We don't have any questionnaires here.
No, you don't.
With us, it's just like you need to have a specific reason in order for them to allow you to enter, and the test. But also, because like a lot of people ask you, how is it you're allowed to enter, and if they're trying to come to another country in Europe, but they're not allowed. The thing is, yes, we have some common rules and regulations, but every country is different. Yeah. They have their own rules and regulations. It would be like states in Mexico.
Yeah, it's different. I was telling you, and you guys, you must know, for example, I have a friend that she texted me yesterday because she saw my story on Instagram, and she was like, are you going to Europe? And I told her yes, and the thing is, like, she has a boyfriend in France, and she wants to come and visit him, but she was like, but how am I supposed to do it? Because French government is telling me that even though I arrive with a PCR test, a negative test, I need to stay in quarantine for 10 days. And because of my job, I'm only allowed to be 15 days out. So it will be basically 5 days with him.
And
so
nothing.
It's worthless. And I was like, well, I'm sorry.
Every government
is different. So if you're planning something, that I just investigate well with months in advance, because it's hard.
And calling the embassies and checking like in the news or whatever on official web pages of governments if they change something. That's what we did, and it took us like very long to figure out how we can do it.
Yeah, I think we started investigating since December, more or less.
Since December, and you got the paper in March. I think.
It took us months, but just investigate, guys.
Yeah, that's it. That's our story of traveling during Corona times.
Yeah. Well, we hope that you liked this episode, guys. It was basically just a story time, and I think it was the best episode for the best topic for the first episode being together.
Yes.
Yeah, we are very happy, guys, that we are together, Sam and me. Finally, we're gonna be a couple of months together because she's coming back to Mexico with me.
Yay!
So I think it's gonna be pretty easy to edit and record and everything for a while. So we just enjoy that. We should enjoy it.
Yes.
And well, that was it, guys. Thank you so much for being here with us. We hope you enjoyed the episode. And as usual, you know where to find us.
Yes, on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and on Instagram at lovealadijonnaise podcast.
Yeah, guys, we wish you a very, but seriously nice weekend. Enjoy a lot your Friday. And we hope to be here next weekend with a new topic and together.
Together.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.